Mr. Vetta.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning. Buenos dias.
Yes.
How's everybody doing today? I see a very, very an energetic group. So I'm going to kind of breeze through, talk primarily about doing business with the federal government. But before I start, I wanted to just ask how many here are currently doing business with the federal government? A show of hands. Just a couple of you. How many of you would like to do business with the federal government? Okay, good. Well, I'm going to try and tell you in about 5 or 10 minutes how you can do that. So, and if I can do that, I'm superhuman. Okay. You know, the U.S. government is actually the world's largest buyer of goods and services. I do have a presentation. Great. Let me see if this works. Great. Okay. We are the world's largest buyer of goods and services. We spend close to about $500 billion a year, about $500 billion a year. Most of that, of course, is Department of Defense, which spends about, I guess it's about 70% of the entire federal budget. But what I'm here to talk to you about is not just that, but the fact that, you know, the government sets annual goals for doing work with small businesses. Each of the agencies set these goals and negotiates them with the Small Business Administration, but the goal of the federal government as a whole is 23% of the entire federal budget should go to small businesses, and then 5% to small disadvantaged businesses, which are minority businesses, and also 5% to women-owned businesses. And then there's also hub zone firms and service-disabled veteran-owned firms. Those are the 5 categories where the government sets goals. Of course, we do business in accordance with the federal acquisition regulations, which I could spend an entire day, actually an entire week talking about. So I'm going to very much gloss over that, but that is really the sort of the Bible for how we procure goods and services. The Small Business Administration, of course, is the central, is the agency that oversees the government contracting with small businesses. We meet with them frequently, and they, as I mentioned about the goals that we set, they also are there to assist you. I think it was mentioned by the earlier speakers about the SBA, SBA.gov, where you can find a lot of information, including some basic information about doing business with the federal government. But primarily I'm here as representing the OSDBUs, the OSDBUs, which are the Offices of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization. And you can see on the slide the website for the OSDBUs. From that website, and the reason that I hope you at least write that one down, is that through that website, you can access every federal agency's OSDBU office. So what do we do? What do the OSDBUs do? Well, we are your advocates. We are your points of contact within the agencies. My role on a daily basis is to push the issues of small businesses to our senior management. And by law, these offices were created going back to the late 70s, by the way. And by law, we report either to the head of the agency or the deputy. So we are at the senior levels of each of our agencies, and we're there to represent your interests. I was at a senior staff meeting this morning where I had to talk to our administrator and his staff about an issue that we had with small businesses. So we are your advocates and we're your representatives. So when you have a small business issue, you need to contact us. What we also do is we assist you in sort of maneuvering your way through the agency. You know, every agency has its own unique issues that you have to deal with. My agency, the U.S. Agency for International Development, we do development assistance overseas. We have our central offices downtown at the Reagan Building, but our work is really done in about 85 countries around the world, in the developing world. So our issues are very unique. We're very different from, say, the Department of Justice or Interior, or whoever it might be. So how do you find out more about each agency, in addition to the obvious things like going on the website? You contact your small business office, your small business advocates, and we can help you to maneuver your way around the agency. What we do also is we partner internally. We get a lot of calls from the small businesses, but I think, in my view, our more important thing that we do is we work internally with our contracts office and with the program offices, where the program offices are where the actual technical work of the agency, the requirements are actually generated. So we partner with them, and on every acquisition of any significance, we're involved. And we mandate, we're basically enforcing the law in many ways, because, you know, sometimes the staff tend to forget the requirements that they have to do with small businesses. So we're there to remind them. But in my view, and the way that I try to do this work, and I think been successful over the past few years and throughout my career, is we look at it more of a partnership. We're there to try to make sure that their contract is successful. So we try to identify those qualified businesses that can do the work for us. And for instance, I'm going to embarrass somebody in the audience, Christina Mossi, who's going to speak to you this afternoon from Devis, who is one of our contractors, one of our stellar contractors, I might add, one of our IT services contractors that is doing some excellent work, and won a task order for some software development work that is in how many countries? To all of them. So, you know, 85 plus countries, they're implementing a software project. So again, a Latina-owned business that's been very successful for us, but just the success story that we have. But anyway, the way that we do our work, again, is through this partnership, and it's not so much, you know, enforcing the law and pounding tables, but we try to do it sort of in a collaborative way. That's the way we do our business. We do a lot of outreach, similar to my colleagues from the private sector. We do monthly vendor outreach sessions. If you want to find out, for instance, about USAID, we have a session next week on August 5th coming up, where you'll spend a half day with us learning about all aspects of our agency. And we have speakers from usually from the contracts operation, as well as some of our technical offices, to tell you a little bit more about how we do business. Every other month we focus on IT. I know this is an IT conference. This one coming up next week is not an IT one, but probably the one in September will be. So certainly contact us, and we can invite you again to learn a little bit more specifically about our agency. But all of the agencies do these outreach activities, and usually they'll be on a monthly basis. We also do an annual, a big event, if you will, where we invite a couple of hundred firms in to learn about small business and how we work with small businesses. And usually we'll have the senior-most leadership of the agency, and we have an opportunity to not only hear from us, but also to meet the key people, because, as you know, business is about relationships. We obviously follow the law, but also, you know, we do business with people that we like. So it's all about establishing those relationships, and we can help you to at least put you in front of the right people so that you can blow them away with your capabilities.